Have you ever looked at the vast, silent expanse of space and felt an unexplained emptiness? What if that feeling is an echo of a truth far older than humanity? Before our world began, other creations, perfect and glorious, filled the cosmos. But a rebellion so ancient, so cataclysmic, shattered them, leaving behind silent ruins. Join us as we explore the hidden history of the universe and discover the profound reason why our Earth might be God's final, most precious appeal. Genesis itself opens with an earth without form and void, shrouded in darkness, a curious indication of earlier ruin. Why would a God of order begin his work over an abyss? What destruction could have preceded our own creation? Ancient prophets, echoing even more ancient traditions, speak of heavenly realms corrupted before humanity was formed. These worlds, once vibrant under the rule of light, became spiritual deserts, abandoned as eternal warnings. Could the scattered fragments in the universe, wandering asteroids, barren planets, be the remains of these ancient dwellings? Even modern science marvels at the desolate worlds surrounding our solar system. What if the rebellion described in Scripture, the fall of the one who desired to ascend above the stars, caused not only war in heaven but also the devastation of physical worlds? This wouldn't be a merely symbolic rebellion, but a cosmic catastrophe, stripping life from entire spheres. Only Earth would be left deformed and dark, awaiting a redemption that would begin with a simple breath from God. Let there be light. In the deep silence of space, before time began, perfect harmony reigned across these distant creations. Worlds revolved in obedience. Spheres teeming with spiritual life celebrated the Creator's glory. This collapse echoed like dull thunder through unseen dimensions. Many ancient theologians suspected that Genesis 1:2 the earth was formless and void, describes not an initial creation but a restoration, as if something had been brutally destroyed before God decided to remake what had been corrupted. Could this chaotic state of earth, covered in water and darkness, be the remnants of a cosmic judgment? Are we standing on a planet marked by invisible ruins from a forgotten age? The prophet Jeremiah, in his vision described in chapter 4, saw the earth empty and without form and all the mountains shaking. While the immediate context refers to a judgment on Judah, many scholars believe this language echoes a much older scenario, one that predates even humanity. Could it be the distant memory of the destruction of previous worlds, of a fall that was not limited to angels, but touched material creation itself? What if the deserts of Mars, the craters of the moon, or even the mysterious dead exoplanets were the silent remains of that first rebellion? They wouldn't be just cold celestial bodies, but mute witnesses to a celestial tragedy. The visible universe, which fascinates us with its beauty and vastness, could be in part a memorial to all that was corrupted and then abandoned by the Creator's hand. Throughout the ages, isolated voices have advanced hypotheses too dangerous for traditional religious circles. Some ancient patriarchs and forgotten writings suggest that before forming man, God experimented with other creative acts, not as mistakes, but as complete cycles with hierarchies, lights, and laws of their own. But pride, subtle and poisonous, infiltrated them like an infection, leading them to ruin. When God says in Isaiah that he did not create the earth to be empty, he may have been contrasting it with these earlier creations that failed. In the earliest Hebrew worldview, the term tohu v'bohu, used in Genesis 1 verse 2, without form and void, carries connotations of judgment and destruction. It's not a neutral state but a vestige of something shattered. It's as if the Spirit of God hovers over the ruins of something former, ready to rebuild on the ashes of a forgotten world. This is not mythology. It's in the details of the Hebrew words, in the silences between the verses. The burning question is, why didn't God simply destroy everything and start from scratch? Why did he choose to restore, to transform chaos into order again? Perhaps because even in the ashes of rebellion, something of value remained. Perhaps Earth, this small blue planet in the midst of the vast universe, was chosen as the stage for the final chapter, where good and evil would finally be judged in full view of all. A new creation, made with the memory of the previous ones still latent in the heavens. What if behind every darkened galaxy, every barren planet, lies a story mankind has yet to discover? What if each of these forsaken worlds were a silent reminder of what happens when creation rebels against its creator? Earth, then, would not only be the beginning of life, it would be the last appeal of grace, a final proving ground where God chooses to restore and redeem rather than destroy outright. Some apocryphal scholars claim that passages in the Book of Enoch hint at realities broader than the simple earthly narrative. Enoch speaks of waste places, of wandering stars, punished for their corruption. What may sound like metaphors to many may also be descriptions of worlds and entities that failed in their original mission. Are these waste places not only spiritual but also physical, scattered throughout the heavens? These ancient narratives echo the idea that the rebellion was not just internal but cosmic. It wasn't just one angel falling. It was a war that left scars on space itself. The stars that fell could represent entire civilizations lost in isolated dimensions. And we, as we look up at the night sky, would be beholding not only the beauty of creation but also the ruins of a forgotten judgment. The Apostle Peter also makes a curious mention in his second letter, saying that the heavens that are now are reserved for the fire of judgment. This implies that the heavens have already undergone drastic changes. Destruction and judgment are not events exclusive to the future. They have happened before. Ancient worlds were swept away, not by chance, but by divine decision in response to the corruption that marred what was once perfect. What if our own earthly history were merely the final echo of that ancient rebellion, a microcosm of a conflict that began ages too distant for human memory to reach? Perhaps at the heart of creation lies the hope that this time, amid the dust and the breath of life, something would resist corruption, something would be redeemed, something would prove that light can triumph where before there was only darkness. Modern science, albeit unintentionally, reinforces this view. Astronomers observe planets that they calculate should harbor life, but are completely dead. Some are frozen worlds, others scorching deserts. The big question remains, why is the universe full of empty planets? The simplest answer may be the most disturbing. They are the remains of a previous creation that did not survive the first judgment. Even Earth, when observed by science, reveals strange things that defy a simple line of creation. Traces of ancient cataclysms, mass extinctions, cosmic impacts, all recorded in the geological layers. The Bible says that God renewed the face of the earth. Psalm 104 verse 30. Renewal implies something existed before, something that was devastated and then rebuilt for a new spiritual mission. There is also an intriguing mention in the book of Job, where it is said that the morning stars sang and all the sons of God shouted for joy when the foundations of the earth were laid. How could they sing when the earth had not yet been formed? The only explanation is that sentient beings already existed in worlds or dimensions that preceded our creation. They saw the earth come into being and celebrated. Some of these beings, however, would later turn against their creator. What if these children of God included civilizations scattered throughout the universe, civilizations that in their fall turned their homes into barren deserts, like silent warnings to any being that tried to defy the divine order? Our story could then be the last chance, a last garden planted amid the ruins of ancient celestial empires, living proof that God's love persists even when everything around seems to have been abandoned. Throughout the ages, ancient traditions have preserved, in fragments and symbols, echoes of this primordial catastrophe. Myths of fallen gods, wars between worlds, and lost civilizations may in fact be distortions of an ancient collective memory. They are not invented tales, but shadows of a much older truth, that not all creations remained faithful, and that not all survived the weight of rebellion. In Isaiah's own narrative, we find the description of Lucifer, he who fell from heaven, son of the morning, as one who desired to ascend above the stars of God. His ambition was not only spiritual but perhaps territorial. He wanted to rule on high, to dominate regions that God had established. His fall, then, would be not only a spiritual expulsion but the collapse of entire realms under his influence. The book of Revelation offers another crucial clue. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels were cast out. This war, described in such grandiose terms, could have left its mark not only on spiritual realms but also on the physical cosmos itself. Every extinguished star, every ruined planet, would be a fossilized battlefield at the edge of creation. If so, then the universe is not only vast, it is also wounded. Every cosmic void, every interplanetary silence, cries out as a mute witness to the choices that shaped eternity. And we, here on Earth, walk upon a restored creation, but surrounded by the echoes of worlds that did not endure. Our calling, then, is far greater than we imagine. We are part of a drama that began before light itself existed. In Romans, the Apostle Paul declares that the whole creation has been groaning and suffering until now. He is not referring only to humans, but to everything that was affected by the initial collapse. The entire creation, from the smallest atoms to the largest galaxies, yearns for final redemption. When we consider that previous worlds existed and were corrupted, the groaning of creation becomes even deeper, echoing pains that go back to ages before our own. Earth then is more than a temporary habitat. It is a symbol of divine mercy in the face of the failure of past creations. Here, God not only created life, he recreated hope. If previous worlds had witnessed rebellion and destruction, Earth would witness redemption and victory. Every sunset, every birth, every rebirth of nature are small signs that God is still writing new stories on the ruins of old. But Jesus himself warned that, as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be at the coming of the Son of Man. These were days of profound corruption, days when creation once again turned against its Creator. This leads us to reflect. Are we repeating the cycle that ruined ancient worlds? Is the story of the fall spiraling back and forth, generation after generation, planet after planet? If so, the coming judgment will not only be upon humanity but upon the entire cosmic order. Just as worlds have been judged and sealed before, so too will our fate be sealed. Revelation speaks of a new heaven and a new earth, a complete renewal that will forever bury the scars of rebellion. The hope lies not only in surviving but in being recreated, in being part of the new that God promises to bring forth. If today we contemplate the stars and feel an inexplicable emptiness, perhaps it is because our spirit recognizes, even if unconsciously, the absence of something that was once full. The vastness of the universe is not only majestic, it is also melancholic. It carries the memory of ancient losses, of spiritual civilizations that did not stand the test of fidelity. Every silence that echoes in space can be a whisper of warning to those who still walk in grace. We are not the first attempt, and perhaps we will not be the last. But we are undoubtedly the generation to which God has supremely manifested his redemption. The sacrifice of the Lamb was not just for fallen humanity, but for the entire wounded cosmos. Christ is called the firstborn of all creation because his work reaches dimensions far beyond what our eyes can see. And that is why vigilance is crucial. Every human choice today reverberates in the heavens, just as the rebellion of ancient beings shook worlds. Our obedience or rebellion shapes the unseen destiny that lies ahead. When the Bible speaks of new heavens, it is not just a poetic metaphor. It is a promise that the entire universe will once again be remade. But not everyone will be part of that new dawn. The warning is clear. Behold, I am coming quickly. Hold fast what you have, so that no one may take your crown. Revelation 3 verse 11. The call to faithfulness is not just to save our individual souls, but to participate in the total regeneration of all that God has created. We are invited to be agents of redemption, living witnesses that this time creation can triumph over corruption. There is an invisible weight upon us, older than any civilization on earth, a weight of responsibility and hope. God, in restoring the earth, has placed in our hands the opportunity to write a story different from those that have failed before. Every prayer, every act of love, every gesture of faith is like a new star lit in the dark sky of cosmic history. We are not just creatures. We are participants in an eternal plan that resists the failures of the centuries. The book of Revelation reveals that there will come a time when the sky will be rolled up like a scroll. This is not just a sign of the end of earthly times, but of the closing of a cosmic era. When the present sky disappears, so will the scars of the fallen worlds. A new creation will emerge, pure, without trace of the old corruption. And only those who remain steadfast in faith will have their names written in the book of life, true citizenship in the new universe. Therefore, the choices we make today have repercussions in dimensions we cannot even imagine. Every renunciation of evil, every silent fidelity, every hope maintained in the face of darkness, contributes to the final reconstruction. The wounded universe awaits the true creation. The angels watch, and we, who carry the breath of the Creator, are called to be more than survivors. We are called to be victors together with Him. We have never been alone. From before the foundation of the world, God saw this moment. He knew of the lost worlds, the unseen wars, the ruins hidden among the stars. But He also knew that amidst the ashes, an eternal seed would blossom. And that seed is faith, the faith that overcomes the world, the faith that will restore not only hearts but all that was once lost. The grand story of the universe is not just one of sin and the fall. It is also one of restoration, of divine patience, of the victory of love over pride. Every star that still shines is a witness that the light has not been defeated. Every dawn on earth is a silent reminder that God is still working to restore all that has been broken. We are called to trust even without seeing the whole plan. Looking up at the vast sky, we may feel small and insignificant in the face of its immensity. But in the eyes of God, each faithful soul shines brighter than the largest galaxies. The Creator who rebuilt worlds and wove new dimensions is attentive to each prayer that springs from a sincere heart. The universe may seem silent, but the throne of God is active, attentive, governing history with firm and merciful hands. May we be among those who persevere, those who, even without understanding all the mysteries, choose to trust. Those who, in the face of broken worlds, look up and say, "There is still hope. The story of creation is still being written, and the final victory will be so glorious that even the dead stars will be resurrected in eternal light under a new heaven and a new earth." The universe carries scars, but our faith transforms those wounds into a promise of eternity. If this message resonated with you, it's time to be part of the final chapter. Like this video to help amplify this truth, subscribe for more profound revelations, and turn on the bell so you don't miss a single one. Share this with someone who needs to hear this hope. And tell us in the comments below, "My faith is the seed that God will make blossom. Let's awaken the world together."